Hello, welcome to Board Deck and Dice Live. I am into the top 20 of my 100 best board games of all time as of 2018. And as usual, we'll be going through them on Board Game Geek, looking at some of the reasons why people think I'm wrong. Suppress the burp there. Now, one thing to bear in mind with these games is these are games that I would like to play. That's how I did my list using the Pub Meeple engine, the games that I would like to play next. That's what we went for. So, see how it turned out. Number 20 is Inish, which is a drafting game with area control. I like it, but this guy, there's a lot I don't like about this game. The main sticking point is the Bren breaks ties, and if the mountain or iron pass are in the starting tiles, just remove them. You either place all your dudes there, or there's little chance to dethrone him from that tile. The epic cards vary from being awesome to utterly useless. I find the draft to be a lazy balancing act. It gets worse when you know how to stop someone from winning, but can't because you can't get the required actions to do so. Recommended by Jason Peacock. Note to self, avoid anything he recommends. Yeah, so in Inish, you are drafting for area control. It's got a very unique art style here. And what I really like about Inish is to win, you have to achieve 3 victory conditions, but when you get 2 and are about to achieve the 3rd, you have to give notice that you're about to win, giving the other players a whole round to try and stop you. Very clever, lovely components. Yeah, really like it as part of the kind of Matago trilogy of Kemet, Inish, and Cyclades. Number 19 is Viticulture EE, which of course stands for Essential Edition. We've got our old friend here, Frozen Flesh, saying the same thing. He's appeared in every section of my top 10. How this game is rated as high how this game is rated as high it is defies comprehension. A mundane worker placement game, utterly lacking in difficult decisions, that is ultimately decided by vastly unbalanced random card draws, manages to steal a few cute concepts from the vastly superior Vinos and Fresco, and adds absolutely nothing of discernible value. And then this guy just stole this review and then added something. Not to mention the nightmare-inducing art of the creepy premium Kickstarter backers, a dreadfully lame money grab gimmick that deserves its own negative review. But you didn't give it its own negative review, you copied another one. For those who don't know, Viticulture is a worker placement game where you're making wine. You want to build out buildings onto your player board to make you more effective. There are summer and I can't remember, winter or something, and one of the other seasons, places to put your people on, and some of them give you extra bonuses depending on the player count. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the way it works. I enjoy the worker placement aspect of it, the kind of progression of it, the wake up track that determines player order, just loads of really clever ideas, and it gets into my top 19. At number 18 is Vikings, an older game from one of my favorite designers, Michael Kiesling. Nothing wrong with game. I'm sure it's a splendid affair. However, after watching run through or reading reviews, absolutely no desire to play. But yeah, I have a strong desire to rate it a 1. I mean, it's so bizarre, isn't it? I've never played it yet. I must warn you that it gives me absolutely no desire to play it. I must warn you about that, even though I've never played it. Autopilot drafting meets personal jigsaw puzzle. Blue and yellow Vikings are irrefutably the best, and just in case you need a push in that direction, the pieces always start on the cheap side of the wheel. Yellow Vikings provide moolah for much needed purchasing power and or endgame BPs, while blue Vikings only get better in quality. Rah, 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 rah. This is a tile drafting game. where you are drafting to build out your tableau here. So this wheel is seeded with tiles, and you have to place them. You can't place, so this one could only be in place because there was one below it. And then you're playing the game hoping you complete that island with a starting piece or a Millennium Falcon-esque end piece. And then you also get some Vikings around the edge that will be on these ones, and you're trying to put those onto the relevant row. If you get grey Vikings, you can store a load here to ship them out later. It works really, really well. It is easier to teach than you think it's going to be, and it just has that great kind of Michael Kiesling-esque nature to it, where you want to it just feels nice putting everything together. The money is great as well because obviously as these things run out, this moves round, thus making the later on tiles cheaper. But if there's one you really want, then you can try and buy it early for more money. It's a really interesting game with loads of satisfaction in it for me. Number 17 is Troyes, which got our again, that comment there. This game is bland. You go through the motions and hope the game ends soon. Awful. It's a highly tactical point salad with mildly innovative core mechanism. Game feels pretty scripted. Get money early, convert X resource into big points in ages 3, 4, 5, while building up your score, your game end bonus card. Great, I can do the same thing 4 to 5 times in half the length with Race for the Galaxy. I love interactivity in games, but this is the type of interaction I hate. There's no way to make long-term plans. Your opponent does a move that screws up what you're about to do, and you do the same back to them. It's an aimless back and forth rather than an interesting build-up into a devastating move. For a mid-weight Euro, try something like Concordia. That's far more cohesive a design, has much more meaningful interaction, and gives players agency in what they want to do. I mean, you're wrong. Trois is a game of dice drafting. Each of the players will get dice by placing meeples into these buildings, and they can be pushed out of those buildings. And the different colours tend to specialise in what they can do. Red are good for combating cards and doing these events down here. Whites trigger these ones and also used for building a cathedral. Yellow generally get you money. The clever thing is that you put all your dice into your zone of the city, but you can use other people's dice and they can't refuse, but you must pay them for it. What you want to do, and what I feel like that guy has missed, is you want to try and get some of these cards which give you your powers and your engine. Once you get a meeple on there, you can use it without paying the cost. So you have to pay the cost the first time, but then for every 5 you then get a coin back for every meeple in the yellow building. So that could be quite a good way of scoring money. And these are totally randomized each game. There's lots of variety in it. The end game is scored with secret goals, but they score everyone. So if you go too heavy on your secret goal, everyone's going to score from that. So they will either try and stop you or get in on that point, those points as well. The expansion, Ladies of Trois, adds kind of modular expansion, which adds more cards, but also adds a purple dice, which cannot be stolen. So you always have at least one dice you can use, making it a little bit less mean. Yes, the game is mean, but it's good fun, highly interactive, and I love it to the degree of number 17, although I think it would beat 16 now because I was a bit surprised to find Forum Trajanum at number 16. Not that it's a bad game. I do really like it. I haven't felt the pull to play it since I made this list, so I think it probably benefited a little bit from being played a lot at the time that I did the list. But I do enjoy it. It probably would be in my top 100. However, not this high up, and certainly not above Trois, or even Vikings, or Viticulture, or Inish. So safely 20. You could probably find a busted washing machine on Craigslist for like $10. You could take it home, take it apart, down to the last little piece, then put it back together again. It wouldn't be particularly fun or interesting, and at the end it still wouldn't work, but you'd have a similar experience to playing Forum Trajanum, and hey, only $10. Well, Dr. Yes, zero. there's a lot of assumptions there. You're making an assumption on the level of my washing machine knowledge and capacity to fix things. So, I might have a lot of fun doing that. Forum Trajanum kind of revolves around this kind of clever aspect of your player board is filled up with tokens. You will turn over two cards and they will direct you to a row and a column, or perhaps two rows, where you have to take one of those tokens and you'll look at both. You'll decide one to keep for you to potentially use and one to pass on to the left. And then you'll get one from the player on your right. So you have two tokens, one that you have to decide to use to do various things like getting in with the citizenry, build this thing in the middle, go up some tracks, build out buildings on your board, replacing the rubble that you've taken off. It's really clever. It can be a bit confusing with all these different colors of meeples, which aren't related to you and all are used in different ways. These four here are related to the colors here, but also to the colors you can build onto your board. In typical Feld fashion, there is a lot of ways to score points. What I really like is the way the multiplier moves up, and you can flip that over so it's more efficient. And now I'm talking about it, I do feel like I really do like it, but still, it wouldn't be as high as it is. And then there's some scoring at the end of each age. Plays in 3 ages, is reasonably quick, to be honest. Lots of good decisions. One that I definitely enjoyed. Number 15 is Grand Austria Hotel, which is boring, dull, and AP prone. It's unplayable at 4 players. The mechanics are okay, but too random for such a long and complex game. Overpriced as well. You barely get $30 to $40 worth of money in the box, but they sell it at 70 for retail. What a joke. Pass! Grand Austria Hotel, the biggest problem with this one is 4 players, it really does slow down. In fact, I would only play 2 to 3, and that is because of the dice drafting. So you roll a dice, they go onto this board, that dictates which actions you can take, and you take all the dice, and you get it to the strength of how many dice there are. But it will go player 1, player 2, player 3, player 3, player 2, player 1. And in a 4-player game, that's even worse. So if you are the first player, you can imagine you're going to be waiting around a long time. You're doing all these actions to get cake to keep your people happy down here and build up your hotel. And the more you build it up, the more kind of bonuses and rewards you get. It has a very similar, let me see if I can find it, system to Lorenzo, which the designers did later on. Whereas if you're not achieving certain things by a certain point in the game, bad stuff is going to happen. Can't actually find it, but that bad stuff only happens once rather than through the rest of the game. And I think that for me, that's a really clever kind of design point, and I really enjoy kind of trying to make it to that point before getting wiped out. Number 14 is the wonderful, the fantastic Gugong. Complete disregard for cultural significance. Uh-oh. The name alone, such a poor choice since in the time period the game was set in, it was never called Gugong. It's disrespectful and historically inaccurate to call it such. The game is ruined by poor design choices and a complete disregard for backers' opinions during the Kickstarter. And like others, I was harassed by the designer almost immediately after leaving my rating, demanding to know why. I was going to leave more stars, but with behaviour like that, I'd leave a 0 if I could. They were rude during the Kickstarter, and they're still rude now. I will never buy a game or support Game Brewer again in any way, ever again. And the same there. So that's a bit of a shame. I'm not even sure if these people can play the game. So here's one who's played the game. After playing this game 4 times, I really hate this game more and more. I'm playing it with 5 players, and you are the 4th or 5th players in turn. You are doomed. Building the Great Wall is suck. Nobody wants to build it because it requires a lot of your workers for very tiny walls. Rewards. With more experience, all players will go to play the same place because the game is so imbalanced. So it's the first player at the first turn which will win the game for almost times. I really like Gugong. I like the card play. You have the board here and you're playing cards onto these slots, but you have to either beat the number, or if it's a 9, you can play a 1. And at these spots, you're doing various things, traveling around, getting benefits, trying to get onto these scoring places, doing a bit of shipping, which is really interesting. But if you do not get someone up this palace track, you cannot win. Like I say, lovely components. I've got the deluxe version. I was lucky enough to find it after the Kickstarter. and just really intriguing card play, and love this system of you have to be here to even stand a chance of winning. Don't do very well at it, but I don't do well at a lot of games. Number 13 is Coimbra. This game is what I dislike in modern board games. Insane amount of point salad, luck, and in serious need of streamlining. Portugal Euro, dice out this year. I mean, they're just facts, aren't they? That's not a review, that's just a set of facts. Coimbra, fantastic. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Yes, if you are going to be absolutely strict about it, it is a game of climbing up various tracks, and the game could be a spreadsheet. But that's what I love about games. They make these things interesting. You're building an engine through getting hold of cards, you're drafting dice. They have these cool but unnecessary dice holders, but they just add to it. You're moving around, trying to get bonuses, trying to claim these, but you can only claim a certain amount during the game. You want to get up high up these to get income at the end, and what income you get is really going to dictate how you can do getting more cards. It's a very clever, very lovely, very beautiful system that I enjoy, and I want to play it right now. Number 12 is the Voyages of Marco Polo, and I just had to translate this one. El Horror, El Horror, El Horror grabbed my attention like only El Horror, El Horror, El Horror would, so I whacked into Google Translate. The horror, the horror, the horror. A Eurogamer garbage designed with the eye of the ass. Bored and absurd, bored and absurd until the vomit. 0% thematic and 0% fun. A hairy shit. Which is funny because that's what we call Simon, one of the guys who comes to our game group. There you go. Amazing Google translation there for the Voyages of Marco Polo. I can see this one being a bit of a Marmite with people. I really like it. Again, it's dice placement, so dice worker placement. You're placing your dice out onto the board. There is interaction in where you place, because choosing things later on will mean you might have to pay for it. Getting to these places first can be key, it's particularly in points. Taking the right ones of these that give you the right bonuses is immense. You've got to get the right resources, move around the map, but moving around the map will cost camels or money or both. Just very clever, very finely balanced with these character cards that all feel overpowered. And because they all feel overpowered, they work. Like this one here lets you decide the value of your dice, but you soon realize this isn't as easy as you want it. You think you go, to make them all sixes, but you really, there is a case for not doing that in a lot of situations. So really, really like Marco Polo. Can see this getting higher as I play it more and more. And number 11, you may have already had a glimpse of it, is the Architects of the West Kingdom. This game could have worked if it had been well thought out, but alas, the best way to win is never jail others. It suffices to count that jailed is costing too many actions compared to freeing. That is simple. Never jailed anybody equals victory. The whole game does not work anymore. Bad mathematical balance that kills the game. Shame. The idea was beautiful. Well, I disagree with that. I jail lots of people, I win. Jailing at the right time is absolutely brilliant. You get coins for it. You can hold people's meeples on your board, which makes it costly for them to get back. It's a good tactic. This is a worker placement game where you are not blocked from many of the spaces. I think only these ones down here and these ones up here are blocking spaces. The rest of them, you put a worker there, you take the action. You put a worker there next time, you get a stronger action. The simplest way of doing this is on the resource gathering ones, where you take the amount of resources that you have workers there. To stop you building up too powerful, people can arrest your workers and then take them to jail. So I don't really know what that review's about. It works fantastically well, just like Shem Phillips's other games. There is your go is taken quickly, but the ramifications of that are amazing. Well, we will next time be into the top 10. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Board, Deck and Dice.